let's move right now to the big story we're tracking. PM Modi is in Brazil, Rio De Janeiro, and interact with U.S. President Joe Biden in Rio De Janeiro in Brazil. PM Modi briefly interacted with President Joe Biden on the sidelines of the G20 summit in the first exchanges following the U.S. presidential elections, viewers. So this is very big coming in post the U.S. presidential elections. PM Modi is meeting a lot of leaders at the sidelines of the G20 summit. Both leaders were seen shaking hands in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Remember, PM Modi arrived in Brazil on Monday following a visit from Nigeria. Okay, those are the pictures we are getting for you where PM Modi is with other top leaders, all the global leaders together in that frame, viewers. And we also have a guest joining us. Our guest joining us live this morning, Mr. Deepak Vora, former ambassador to India, to Poland, joining us live this morning. A very good morning to you. And as we track all the developments coming in from across the other side of the world where PM Modi is, that is Brazil, how do you really read these bilaterals and these meetings that PM Modi is having on the side with top leaders? These pictures, and the big breaking is that he has met the outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden.
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. Always a pleasure to be with you on your channel early in the morning, despite all the gaps that we have in the nation's capital. I think we're grab 4 or 5 or whatever. So if I keep coughing, please forgive me. I've been to Guyana. Now, all these bilateral meetings first that you talked about, these are part of a larger multilateral grouping. We go there, we meet these people, we talk about various issues. But as far as the President of the United States is concerned, he's what we call, in Hindi, the term is Langla Batak. We call it lame duck because he's going out very soon. Guyana, where he is, the Prime Minister has gone after Brazil, it's very interesting. Brazil is a neighbor of Guyana. So when these visits are planned, ma'am, let me share with you what happened because I've done this myself. The Prime Minister is going to place A for a multilateral visit or bilateral visit, whatever. And they say, all right, what are the other countries in the region that we can include in this visit? So Guyana gets included because the Prime Minister hasn't been there, an Indian Prime Minister, in several years. And Guyana has recently had huge discoveries of oil and gas. That is what we are interested in. Now, we're not going there only for oil and gas, but that's a major significant component. There are other elements of the bilateral relationship. We've always supported them. There are lots of them have been educated in India. About 40%, I think, of the population there, less than 1 million, the total population. These are people of Indian origin, the descendants of the laborers who went there to work in the 19th century. The British took them there and so on. Now, that's all part of history, but it's living history. These people are very proud of their connection with India. And we've also had heads of government in India. I've known some of them who are of Indian origin. So on the whole, I'd say that it's a relationship which needs nurturing and strengthening, and the Prime Minister's visit will strengthen these bonds of friendship and cooperation. Guyana, by the way, if you ever get a chance, go there. It's fascinating. The rainforest, the rivers, the mountains, it's pristine. It's absolutely amazing, the beauty over there. It also has issues with all its neighbors, by the way. Brazil is this huge big fellow, and they've sort of had border clashes. And Brazil says, you've been supporting the rebels from, the fellows from Cuba in the Angolan civil war. The Americans say that you are allowing your territory to be used for ferrying drugs, etc. And then Venezuela has claimed a major part, almost 2/3 of Guyana. They've even fought a border war. So these are issues over there. They'll be looking to India for support. Why has India now reached out to Latin America? Ma'am, don't overemphasize the China angle. China can do what it wants. But this is a new self-confident India. And these countries also want an alternative. They are sick of the West. They are sick of hectoring by the United States and the European Union. They don't like China particularly because China has a very extortionist kind of foreign policy, foreign trade policy. With India, there is the element of trust and of cultural continuity. They look to India as a powerful supporter in their own development.
Also, Mr. Vora, I would like to ask you a little bit more about, how India is being looked at by other global leaders. We remember last year G20 summit, which was hosted by India, and all the global leaders present, they adopted the new Delhi Declaration, which spoke about essentially on the Russia-Ukraine war, among other top global issues. How do you really look at the reception that PM Modi is getting from global leaders now that India has its own standing in the world stage?
You know, you asked me a brilliant question, ma'am. Thank you. May I give you a slightly detailed response? When I was posted in the United States in the mid-'80s, I didn't study there, but I used to attend some lectures at Columbia University. And one of the fellows there, whose lectures I really enjoyed, we used to call him William Lomri, William Fox. He's the guy who 80 years ago, he was a geopolitical analyst and an international affairs expert. He wrote a book called Superpower, the first time the term was used, and he had listed United States, Soviet Union, and Britain as superpowers. Now, the Soviet Union, we know, has mounted Yamraj's train and gone away. Britain is waiting to go. That leaves the United States. Then he also said these are the qualities, the requirements to be a superpower. And he listed population, resources, technology, your infrastructure, etc., etc. Now, Bharat, India, has all that and more, and these countries recognize this. We are the voice of the global south. We are the leaders of the global south. Ma'am, 74 countries, this is my latest count, have officially said, look, we want to follow India's role model, the digital development role model, the digital public infrastructure, etc., etc. So they say that as far as a model for the future for our own development is concerned, our choice is India. And I always smile when I meet some of their leaders at international conferences. They tell me this, and I say, yeah, right choice, baby. You've done the right thing in choosing India as your partner, because we're not going to cheat you. We have no interest other than your development and ours on a mutually beneficial basis. So India today, ma'am, if I may put it in a sentence, I'll compare it to China because all people do. China is suspected. India is respected.
All right. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Deepak Vora, former ambassador of India to Poland, for joining us here on Live this morning. Very, very important visit with the Prime Minister. He's on a three-nation tour. And we move ahead. Like we told you, PM Modi is right now in Brazil for the G20 summit. He was in Nigeria. Next, Guyana is on his list, marking the first trip by an Indian leader to the Caribbean nation in over 5 decades. This visit is expected to strengthen ties between the two countries, with key agreements in energy and defense on the agenda. This visit to Guyana is part of his second leg of the three-nation visit after attending the G20 summit in Brazil. Let's have a look at this report for more.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to make a historic state visit to the Caribbean nation of Guyana, where the two countries are expected to sign agreements in the areas of energy and defense. This visit will mark the first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Guyana since Indira Gandhi's visit in 1968. During his visit, the Prime Minister is expected to hold bilateral talks with Guyana's President Mohamed Irfan Ali. This high-level diplomatic engagement endorses India's commitment to strengthening its relationship with the Caribbean. PM Modi will also meet other leaders from the Caribbean community, an intergovernmental organization of 15 Caribbean nations, including Guyana. This trip will pave the way for cooperation in areas such as energy, agriculture, education, technology, and people-to-people ties. Prime Minister Modi is visiting Guyana after attending the G20 summit in Brazil, which was part of the second leg of his three-nation visit. During the G20 summit, the Prime Minister also met outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden, along with other world leaders. Meanwhile, on PM Modi's arrival in Brazil, the Indian community welcomed him with Sanskrit chants.